Hey Social Cam, I wanted to share with you something that I was just recently reading here in Scripture in Matthew chapter 18, starting in verse 21. You see Peter comes to Jesus, and obviously Peter probably comes a bit agitated. He seems a little frustrated, and he goes to Jesus and says, "Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Like till 7 times? I'm wondering if this is the 8th time that this guy has wronged Peter, and that's why he's going to Jesus and saying, "Jesus, tell me it's okay for me to not forgive him." Which really, let's just change the wording around. Peter is saying, "Jesus, when's it okay for me to hate people? When is it alright?" Jesus says unto him, "I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Now, he's not saying 77 times or 490 times, depending on what commentator you're talking about. What Jesus specifically mentions is 70 times 7, or he's making an emphatic point about that number 7. See, 7 is the number of completion, biblically. Rabbis even today talk about the importance of the number 7 in festivals and in the Old Testament. How many 7s there are really is God's number of completion. And so Jesus is saying, forgive until your forgiveness is complete. Or forgive until your forgiveness has changed your attitude towards the person. Forgive until your forgiveness has changed how you look at the person. Forgive until your forgiveness is really complete. Because a lot of times we say that we forgive people, but if we're honest, we haven't forgiven. And so then he goes on to tell the story about this man who owed $10,000 worth of debt to a king. And he came to the king, and the king said, "I'm sorry, I have to put you and all of your family into slavery because you owe this amount of money, you can't pay it back." And the man said, "Oh, no, just put me on a payment plan. It's okay. If you put me on a payment plan, I'll make sure to pay it all." Well, the king had pity towards him and said, "You know what? I see your heart. I'm just going to forgive all of the debt. Everything that you had owed is free and clear." And he was so happy, but then the next day, he goes and he finds a dude that owed him $100. And he takes him by the throat and he slams him against the wall. He says, "You better give me my money." And he said, "Well, just give me some time and I'll get you your money back." But he refuses and he throws him in prison. The king talks about this guy and he says, "You know what? You are a wicked servant. Because you have done this, even though I forgave you, now you will be delivered to the tormentors." It's a scary story. But I think that there's grace really in this story as well. When Jesus says, forgive 70 times 7, he says, keep forgiving until the forgiveness works. And Jesus could have said, forgive 1 time. But that 1 time, you better fix your attitude, and you better fix how you think about the person, and you better fix everything. He says, no, you might not get there the first time. So what I'm telling you is keep forgiving. And maybe it's an everyday thing. Maybe it's an every hour thing. Maybe it's an every minute. Where you just have to keep reminding yourself, I forgive so-and-so. And you keep forgiving.